So hello fellow Earthlings. This is Earthling 6455463728. And I believe that Trump is fulfilling a unwritten campaign promise. It was basically a promise that people understood, but he couldn't come out and say that that was a goal. And that campaign promise was to make America white again. For many people might know that non-Hispanic white people are, according to the rate of change, population growth in America, they are likely to become they were supposed to become a minority in 2050. And by minority, I mean right now, the percentage of non-Hispanic white people in America is 60 or 62%, I believe it is, and that will reach to below 50%, or it was supposed to, in 2050. However, that unsaid campaign promise of Trump, he has kept. If nothing else, I was looking at two articles. If nothing else, they say, the Trump administration might be haphazard in almost everything that it does, aside from the tax reduction that it did for corporations. But the other thing that is done has been to reduce immigration to America significantly. I'm seeing that, of course, the border has been closed with respect to the caravans of Latin American people coming in. Trump has implemented travel bans on a number of different countries. He's implemented wealth restrictions for people who are looking to come into the country. He's implemented restrictions with respect to health insurance, with respect to the number of people that are picked up by ICE. Across the board, Trump has managed to tighten the grip on the means that people enter the country and manage to stay legally. And in case it is a surprise, the most people who were coming in to America were not white people, because for the most part, white people in the world live in either developed countries or they're much closer to other developing or developed countries than they would be to America. So for example, a place like Poland or Ukraine, whose economy might not be the best and people might want to leave that particular country. There are a lot of other countries that they can go to, like the UK, for example, which is one reason why the UK wanted Brexit, so it could control the people who were coming into its country. And before I get too far, let me just go over what the costs will be for America. For the longest period, America has had a superpower. And the superpower is that its population has been growing. And this is a different situation from many, many other developed countries. Like France and Germany and many countries in Europe. I'm not sure about Australia, but I believe that might be the case. Well, Canada, has a lot of immigration on purpose. But most developed countries in Europe have had a declining population. Japan has a declining population. South Korea has a drastically declining population. So most of these countries that are developed have barely been making any kind of growth in their economy, because it's really difficult to have growth with fewer people, because the birth rates in many of these countries has been very low. The thing about the US is that having so many people apply for refugee status and coming in even illegally across the US-Mexican border, just having a lot of immigrants, period, whether it's people from India or from China or from other parts of Asia or from Africa, has helped the US to maintain its domestic growth, because all of those people need services, all of those people need jobs, and they can start at jobs that many people might not want, especially when they just get to the US. Even if you're a doctor and you come to the US, you're not going to be able to work as a doctor to begin with. So, or a lawyer, or any position that you might take, unless you're, somebody coming into the entertainment field, in which case you don't need any kind of degree in that respect. You're probably not going to be able to take up whatever high status job that you had to get into the US. Maybe you need to learn the language in order to even practice, if you don't need a particular degree. So a lot of these people are going to be taken up, these lower level jobs, and that, I believe, has, along with the fact that people, native born Americans, just like in all of these other developed countries, are not maintaining the population based on the birth rate. It's up below the birth rates that's necessary to maintain the population. So the only reason that the US's population has been growing is because of immigrants, and because immigrants have children at a higher rate than native-born residents of the US. So that very superpower that the US has had compared to all other developed countries in the world, Trump has been hacking away at the trunk of that tree. I'm sorry for mixing metaphors there, but I couldn't find a way to make them coalesce. But yeah, and that is a problem that many developed countries in Europe, or even Australia, I think, based on how much immigration they have been facing. And like I said, Japan has virtually no immigration. That's something that they need to do, even as their population ages, and they need more people to take care of these elderly people. Some of Japan's elderly people, of course not a huge percentage, but some of them have taken to going to jail, committing crimes to go to jail, in order to have a place to, where they can be well taken care of. It's that absurd. And the superpower that the US has had, Trump has made significant headway into reducing it. I mean, it may make people in the US happier that there are not that many immigrants. Of course, not everybody, but a lot of Republicans will be happier. People like Steve Bannon will be happier. But the repercussions of taking away that gift that America had for the longest period of time, it eventually will be felt. It will strike at the same danger that China has, in that it is not able to continue to grow, and may very well never manage to, well, I can't say never, but might not manage to become the world's #1 economy for an extended period of time, is because of that. Because they tried their one-child policy, they had it in place, and then they realized, whoa, we have messed something up. And then they tried to encourage people to have more than one kid, but people don't want to. And that's a subject for another video, but it's an example of people not realizing, I think, what is a positive and what might be a negative. Of course, it looks like Joe Biden, everything is stacked up in Joe Biden's favor for him to win. And we can assume that he may change, reverse some of the things that Trump put in place, like a lot of these travel bans, a lot of these prerequisites for immigration, like health insurance, like a wealth criteria, the fact that people can't use any kind of social safety nets if they're going to become or file for immigration, to become a U.S. citizen, and a number of other things. You know, the way Trump wants people to file for refugee status in Mexico, and I presume it is encouraging, in quotes, Mexico to hold on to people to prevent them from immigrating to the US. I think just like the UK, the US is trying and succeeding to keep America the way that it is. Unfortunately, I think that across the world, that is going to hit the developed world, and even some of the countries that are developing, like China, it's going to be a problem. Before the virus even hit, a lot of European countries, including Germany, had very, very low growth rates. And that can easily happen to the US. And unfortunately, the way that modern society has been structured is based on permanent growth, an expectation of permanent and continuous growth. So I expect that there will be problems, especially if Joe Biden doesn't win, and even then, if he doesn't immediately reverse all of the structures and impediments that Trump has put in place. So we'll see what happens, but long term, if the US manages to restrict immigrants, it's going to be shooting itself in the foot. So anyway, guys, you can wish me lucks. That's LUCSS. You can like or unlike, comment, subscribe, and or share. And of course, it's not recommended, but you can do nothing. Peace.